Mario hits the golf course, and is it a hole-in-one? And there's a recent Zelda remake, does it reach for the sky? And even now, I'm still finding retro classics I've never played. This and more with Play and Tell. So welcome back to another episode of Play and Tell. I'm your host, Xander Skullion, where I talk about games I've been playing and leave little short reviews, mini impressions. Most importantly, when you walk away, you have something new to play. So the first game I want to talk about is a game that initially got a lot of backlash when it was initially announced, and that is Mario Golf Super Rush. And, you know, I was looking on Twitter and I was seeing everyone complain about this game, but honestly, I've been really enjoying it. You know, it was one of those games that I knew it was coming out, and the day it came out, I went ahead and went to Walmart and bought it because it was $5 cheaper, and I've been really enjoying it. I like golf games. I don't care for the sport in real life, but I've always been a fan of golf games, and I've always been a huge fan of the Mario Golf series. Now, what to expect with Mario Golf on the Switch? It's Mario Golf. You know, you have some courses that you play. You play golf. There's an adventure mode that's very RPG-like. It made me reminisce of the Game Boy Color version of a Mario Golf, where you play as your own little character, and it kind of just gives you the runaround of how to play the game. You unlock different clubs. You level up, and of course, one of the things they added to this game as well is the Super Rush mode, which is like almost like Everybody Golfs, if you ever played that one, where everyone putts at the same time and they all race to the next hole. Each character has their own attributes and different abilities. It almost makes you have like a Mario Kart feel. You know, it's very wacky, it's very Mario. And, you know, I think a lot of people complained about this because of the initial price of $60, and a lot of people felt like it wasn't worth $60. And, you know, I can kind of agree with that. It's definitely not a full retail sort of game. I would say if you found a used copy out in the wild or at the store or something like that, definitely pick it up. If you're like me, though, and you really love Mario Golf, definitely check out Super Rush.
Chipping. Nice birdie.
Now, there's no better therapy than retail therapy, folks. And, you know, I've been going through a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And I went out to GameStop early one Friday morning because I knew a game was coming out that I had pre-ordered. And, you know, funny enough, there were people outside waiting for this game. And I'll get into the reason why. But, of course, I'm talking about The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Now, I have a very interesting history with Skyward Sword. I bought Skyward Sword on the Nintendo Wii years ago, and I actually did a live stream, and it was so embarrassing because of the motion controls. The motion controls just really just turned me off. I played it on that stream, and I never picked the game back up. And when I heard about the initial release of Skyward Sword, and I heard that they were doing away with the motion controls, I was like, okay, I might give this game a second chance. Now, let me tell you, if you were on the fence of the motion controls of Skyward Sword and you're getting this and you're expecting to play a more traditional Zelda game, you're going to be slightly disappointed. And the reason why I say that is because this game was made for motion controls in mind. So even with the traditional button layout that they added to this remake on the Nintendo Switch, it still has some getting used to. Even playing with the Pro Controller, some of the button layouts and some of the ways you do certain, like, you know, swipes with your sword and stuff like that, it's kind of clunky. But with that being said, it is a very interesting Zelda story. It's, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually the prequel to the whole Hyrule storyline and arc. So it's the beginning of everything. And yeah, I mean, it's Zelda. You can't really go wrong with Zelda. Zelda's like pizza. Even if it's not that great, it's still good. Now, one of the reasons why I was mentioning retail therapy is because when I went to go pick up Skyward Sword that Friday morning, there were people outside waiting. And I thought they were just waiting for Skyward Sword, but I forgot they came out with the Joy-Cons. These right here. I wasn't planning on getting these. I remember a lot of folks were trying to pre-order these, and they were getting scalped, and it was all sorts of freaking camaraderie. It was just insane. But I ended up getting them, and what can I say? They look better in person. They are really nice, well-made Joy-Cons. I love the finished. Honestly, they feel a little heavier than my original gray Joy-Cons. And I haven't had a new set of Joy-Cons on my Switch since I got my Switch about 4.5 years ago. So having a new, fresh set on my Switch, it was pretty awesome. And I really do enjoy these. I think these are really nice. And I remember the guy at GameStop was like, do you want to get the warranty because of Joy-Con drift? And I'm like, you know, I don't know if I'll actually be playing these. I saved all the wrapping. I might put them back in the box, but either way, I had to have them. I saw them, and I was like, you know what? I feel bad about life. I need some new Joy-Cons. Now, when I initially first started my YouTube channel, there were a lot of channels that I watched that kind of allured me to try out certain games, and they would talk about these games. I'm like, man, I really want to try them out. And one game that always allured me was Monster World 4. And the thing is, Monster World 4 never really got an initial Western release physically. You know, it was released digitally through like the Sega Genesis Mini. I remember it was on the Wii Virtual Console at one point. And I remember playing it through emulation, but I've always wanted to have like a physical copy of it in some shape or form. So I was really excited that they made a remake to Wonder Boy Aisha in Monster World. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like we are in the middle of this Wonder Boy resurgence with all these, you know, Wonder Boy games and spiritual successors like Monster Boy. I am a huge fan of the series. And what do I think about the remake? Comparing it to, say, Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap, I feel like it is a step down. This definitely feels more like a budget indie sort of game, but it has the charm that I remember playing Monster World 4 on emulation, you know, and I still had that nostalgia, even though I didn't grow up playing the game. I still really enjoyed it, and I still really enjoy this game. It's not that long either. This is I think you could probably beat this game in probably about 3 or 4 hours. It's not a long game. And, you know, playing as Aisha and, you know, she wants to become a warrior, and before she knows it, she's in the middle of saving the world. I love the soundtrack. I love some of the little things they added to it. I wish the graphics were a little bit more like hand-drawn sprites. I think that's what makes the game look a little bit more budget, is the fact they use, you know, 3D art with the 2D backgrounds and stuff like that. But one thing as well I want to note, if you buy a physical copy on Amazon for like, say, $30, it comes with the original Monster World 4. So you get the original as a digital download, as well as this awesome remake that I highly recommend. For $30, you can't go wrong. And another remake that just came out of nowhere that I was like, oh, okay, I have to buy this. My friend Darian actually posted it on Facebook. He owns a video game store called Warp Zone over in Ohio, and he posted a picture and he was like, "Happy Cotton Day," and I'm like, "Cotton? Oh my God!" For you guys who don't know what Cotton is, it's one of my favorite shooters. It's one of my favorite shooters, and they made a Cotton Reboot on the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. And I believe it's on Steam as well. But I had to get a physical copy of it. And you know, this game is not reinventing the wheel. It is not a brand new Cotton adventure. It's a remake of the first Cotton. As a matter of fact, you can play the original, I believe it's the arcade version. You can play that. And they didn't really add a whole lot of features to this title. I mean, they added a time trial and leaderboards, which is pretty cool. But I always have enjoyed Cotton. I enjoyed the little anime cutscenes. I enjoy the music. It's kind of like this cutesy little shooter that's just completely insane. it's therapeutic. You know, just like Mario Golf, I said earlier, this game is just a relaxing game that you just play and you just zone out. That's what I love about shooters. It's like just playing and seeing the array of bullets and colors and music, and you just zone out. You just forget everything in the world, and that's really what Cotton Reboot did for me. I really am glad to add this to my collection. Now, something I don't really mention on the channel too much, but I have a modded Wii U. I modded my Wii a couple years ago, and I will say, if you have a Wii U, this is something you must do to this console because it unlocks so many possibilities. You know, I'm able to play GameCube ISOs on it. I'm able to play Wii backups and, of course, Wii U ISOs. And I was going through my Wii collection because I don't know why, but I've been in such a Wii mood lately. And I was going through my games, and I decided just to have a really good game night for myself. I went and I got myself a 6-pack of my favorite beer. I went and got a $5 Hot and Ready from Little Caesars. I pulled out the Wiimote, I put in the gun attachment, and I played some House of the Dead Overkill. The Wii is one of the best consoles if you're like me and love light gun games, and House of the Dead Overkill is probably one of my favorite light gun games of all time, and honestly, anyone who says that the Wii has nothing but shovelware and kid games and Nintendo titles, show them House of the Dead Overkill and change their mind, because this game right here is something special. Now, first and foremost, this game has so many F-bombs. This is a game definitely not recommended for children. It's got a lot of cussing in it, and you know, House of the Dead's always been notorious for having terrible voice acting. It's almost been like its charm to have like that B-movie kind of feel to it. So House of the Dead Overkill took that to a whole new level and made it almost a grindhouse style game. And you know, the cutscenes are just freaking hilarious and so wrong. But the gameplay itself is so freaking good. And playing it with the Wiimote, with the gun attachment, it made me like go back in time of like going to, you know, Pizza Hut in the 90s, or going to, you know, Walmart, you know, back when Walmart had like the little arcade area in between the store and the walk-in way. You'd always have a couple arcade cabinets, and I just really enjoyed it. I, you know, had the backlight on my TV on, the little red light, so it had some ambience to it. I had the lights off. It was just such a good time, and I cannot recommend enough. If you have a Wii U, you need to have some light gun games, and House of Dead Overkill is definitely one that needs to be on the list. You know, it still surprises me that I still find games that came out when I was gaming as a kid that I never knew about, that I'm still finding out today. And you know, I was actually doing some housework and I was listening to a Sega Genesis soundtrack, and I heard this song and I'm like, oh man, this is hitting hard. This is nice. What game is this? And I looked it up, and it was this game on the Sega Genesis called Vapor Trail. Now, Vapor Trail is a shooter, and it's not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's not as good as, say, like Truxton or Musha, but there's something special about Vapor Trail. The game came out in '91, and I feel like even back then, the folks who made the game understood what the Genesis was. I mean, there's like voiceover work in this game, an amazing soundtrack, and even like some of the helicopters and planes that are in the background come out, and it's almost like paintings coming to life, and you have to shoot it. It's a very difficult game, but honestly, I went and hooked up the Pi and started playing it, and I was like, man, this is good stuff. I can't believe I missed out on this. This totally would have been a game that I would have rented back in the day, you know, going to Blockbuster, and I would have ended up, you know, trying my best to buy Vapor Trail, because it's a really good game. I would say that if you're looking for a shooter that you haven't played yet on the Genesis, Vapor Trail is definitely on the list. But anyway, guys, those are some games I've been playing recently. What have you been playing? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, but also hit that bell so you're notified of all future videos that come out on this channel. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And as always, happy gaming.